word from Iyoko? We don't even know why he's been arrested.
Good morning to your viewers, wherever they are. I don't know why you left it at 24 hours. But
I said over.
Yes, I don't know why you left it at 24 hours again. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
But with what we have seen between the two Richards this morning, it is just fair to admit that the arrest and detention of Miracles has generated a lot of public commentary and public interest. However, the arresting agency is Iyoko. Iyoko has not released any statement. But I want to assure you that there is one thing I picked from Richard, the other one on phone, statement, which I would like to say here is that anybody arrested must have his or her dignity protected. And one way of protecting the dignity is to retain some of the information about the reason why the person is arrested. So you don't go throwing that information all about when sometimes it's just on facts that you're arresting, not something that is proven yet in court. So sometimes it's good to retain some of that information so you don't share it. Number two, I want to say that we have been in this country where we have watched matches being done to Iyoko premises. And in the end, the persons for which the party has marched there is negotiating something else based on the reason why the party has marched there. So is it not too early for this match to be organized today that we want to go to Iyoko and demand his release? By the way, the reason I said 24 is that the Constitution says 48 hours.
Yes. To be arranged
before court or released. So that is why I was wondering if you are going between 48 and 24.
So my question is more about
the release of statement.
Yes.
Yes.
Like details as to why he's
That is why I'm saying
arrested.
that, yes, it is just Monday morning. It is by my watch. If I'm, okay, just 8:05. Let's give Iyoko a further an hour or two. I believe that Raymond Archer knows exactly what he's doing. And for all these days, he has been on top of issues. So I don't think that is an issue yet to be debated. Number two, I find it wild to say that because Miracles has declared his intention to contest Director of Communications, that's the reason why he's being arrested, or for the fact that he's a serious critic, that's why he's being arrested. Oh, Richard, my brother here. So you are also a candidate to be arrested because you're also a critic of the government? No. Nobody goes to arrest. What is the reason for going to arrest somebody because they have declared to become Director of Communication? In one breath, Richard here tells us that they don't know the reason why he's arrested. In the other breath, he says that he's being arrested. You ask him specifically, so you have concluded that he's been arrested because he is a critic of the government. I mean, the government that has been more tolerant, bro. When you were talking, even when you were talking, no, Mr. Ayangba, no. When you were talking, even when Richard on the line wanted to interrupt you, you said no. Don't interrupt. Let me flow. Now, you see, that's the reason why, that's the purpose. Now, so we on one hand, he also tells us that he's been arrested Saturday. He's not spoken to anybody. Then on the other hand, he tells us that they are weekending, so nobody has spoken to Miracles whilst in detention. Which one do we have to buy? But I want to stand on the fact that even persons who are currently standing trial and were arrested by Iyoko, Edu Buahin, Wuntumi, and a few others, there was even a post by the current Deputy Attorney General who visited some to find out if they are being treated very well. So anybody upon the assumption of office of the current government that has been arrested has always been treated fairly and nicely. So the idea that you talk to your lawyer, I believe today, whatever will be, either Iyoko will release him, Iyoko will charge him, Iyoko will send him to court, or Iyoko will make all the other arrangements for him to be spoken to about this. Also the issue about he was coming in, why arrest him? That presupposes that you know when he should be arrested or at what situation he should be arrested. Assuming he was having breakfast or he has finished breakfast and was arrested, you would have said that he should have been waiting to have lunch. He will have lunch. Why do you arrest him? No, we don't know what the investigative body knows. We don't know whether the young man coming into the country, the next step will be to thwart some of the investigation. So let's allow Iyoko. That is the investigative body that has arrested. I want to state it categorically here that this government has never used arrest as a form of intimidating persons. Indeed, some people feel that there are not enough arrests. It's all over there. You see it on social media every day. So for somebody to suggest, either remotely or very far, that the government is currently using arrest as intimidation. Why? Miracles has been allowed to say a lot of things. He's gone to Cocoa areas, he's gone to Galamsey areas. He was never arrested just for the fact that he has announced that he's going to contest. Indeed, until this morning, I thought Richard was going to contest. And I believe you knew too. You thought the same way too. That's why you asked the question. So I was going to say that if Richard was going to talk that way, then perhaps Richard will say, oh, they're using this, my opponent, and okay, keep him small so that I will campaign. Or if you don't keep him, so he gets so much publicity, he affects my campaign. But he told it, nobody is interested in whatever he becomes. Of course, that's is a government in waiting one day, so everybody would like to know what happens in your opponent's camp. But to say that Miracle's arrest is linked to the fact that he has declared to contest National Director of Communication for the New Patriotic Party, that is far-fetched. That cannot be the truth.
Well, he's given all these instances because he says there's no clear communication as to why he was arrested, which is why they are allowed, or they are given room to conjecture. Because if up until now the statement had come, then maybe that would have assuaged all fears as to exactly what could have been the reason. You see,
let's situate it in the context of the law. Has EOCO breached any operational procedures?
Have they?
Have they? No.
Okay.
They have not. I mean, the one we should be talking about. That is why I don't want you to limit yourself to 24 hours, lest you are writing a new clause in our constitution.
Okay.
Our constitution allows them to keep the person up to 48 hours. Not to fall to the side of the sword between the two Richards. I will say that my understanding of the other Richard is that for the fact that you need to even give information must not necessarily mean it has to go to MPP or to NDC, but it can be given to Ghanaians. If I understand correctly, and not to fall on the sword of my brother Richard in the studio here, but suffice that to be, let's put that aside. The 48-hour limit, they are allowed to keep or detain you. Now, the only part that we don't know yet is that was he told why he was arrested? I believe the guys would have told him. They wouldn't have just arrested him and bundled him and said that we are taking you away without telling you the reason for your arrest. They would have told him the reason for his arrest. So the idea that his dignity will be violated, his rights will be violated, are not there. And I want to appeal to my brother. Yes, they have every right to demonstrate, to march, mount all the platforms, placards to say, free Miracles now. But at the end of the day, we saw it. All MPs went and sat in front of EOCO. At the end of the day, if they want to trace the story back from where we are now, about that same story, to where they sat on the floor, a lot of them would have said, if we had known what we know today, we wouldn't have gone there. That is why I believe that let's allow EOCO. It's just 8 o'clock. In the next 1.5 hours or an hour, EOCO might be releasing statements.
All right. Let me bring...